At the end of the journey, the traveler finally acquired the key to omniscience and omnipotent. She depleted her blood and soul, transforming her own body into a splendid palace. The new home was both beautiful and austere, and once stepped inside, the traveler could no longer take a step beyond the palace walls. Almighty Majesty, the reflection in the mirror murmured, "Why do you still long for the visit of a messenger?" "Because I can no longer touch," she replied, "nor perceive." The reflection said no more. In the empty palace, the blind traveler fell into an eternal silence. She had long forgotten that, from the moment she had embarked on the journey, they had already forsaken any notion of once being a human. Which name is better? What do you think about this one, Sa? Don't you think it'd be nicer for a city to have its own name? This is the city where new humans of Purusha are going to be born. It doesn't feel right to have it stay nameless. So I was thinking, if you don't have any objections, how about Phosphorus? This is pointless. It means both morning star and future in Purusha. I think it suits the city very well. New humans will be born here and develop their own unique culture, which will thrive and spread across the entire planet. Maybe one day it could surpass Purusha and become a new interstellar civilization. Foolish beyond saving. The new seed has yet to be born. Yes, but the planets are thriving. Oh, and I found another gorgeous flower the other day. I'll take you to it. I think the environment here can be described as the most perfect in the entire solar system, don't you think? Both the amount of sunlight and rainfall are ideal for plant growth. The automated management of the artificial atmosphere is truly remarkable. Though currently concealed by the clouds, you'll be able to see those two small planets in the evening. The thousands of years we spent on capturing them were definitely worth it, if you ask me. The third and fourth planets even... And now, this planet also has its own moon. Look, that's the one. I found it only this morning. There is no record of it in Purusha's database. It's a brand new species. Isn't it beautiful? This planet was so barren and desolate before the transformation, with nothing but ancient sea ice beneath the surface. It's hard to imagine that a place like that would one day transform and flourish like it has. This is all completely meaningless without new seeds. Everything I've done so far will have been for naught. Yes, I know. This city is just for cultivating the perfect human vessels. Beautiful landscapes, fresh blossoms, they don't mean anything to you. I must be no different then. I may be imagining things, but it feels like you're always so distant from me. This is what I dislike about her the most. But now, that intense loathing is barely noticeable, almost imperceptible. Most of my consciousness has been subsumed by the sea. Absorbing energy from intertidal zones of the sea is expanding my existence and slowing my actions. My persona constantly diluting and my sense of self continuously diminishing. What exists here is nothing more than a vessel with minuscule consciousness sufficient to interact with and perceive the outside world. So if you continue to absorb energy, will your persona be diluted further? Will you become a life form completely devoid of emotions, almost like a machine? That's exactly what I'm aiming for. If I'm to master immense energy and create the ideal habitat, concepts such as persona and self will be my principal impediment. How can the body of a mortal carry the weight of the stars? Why do that to yourself? A god devoid of humanity can't possibly lead people. Quite the contrary. Humanity will become fetters which shackle a god who should be the arbiter upholding the world. Human nature only holds meaning on an individual level, often stands in direct opposition to the interests of the collective. A god's obligation is to determine matters of life and death on a global scale. They must not be restrained by human nature, which could compromise their principle. One should follow practical truth, not imagined morals. Prussia, my homeland, is a perfect example. If it were to be bound by human nature and forsook what must be done simply for what was deemed right, Prussia would have been reduced to cosmic dust long ago during the first Abyss assault. I will liberate myself from the constraints of human nature, from a mind clouded by morality, and embrace ultimate freedom with omniscience and omnipotent. I will be the one governing all, even if it means you'll no longer be you. Your consciousness will sink into the sea, completely immobilized. Who will be the one truly trapped? I don't understand. Why do you have to go this far? It's what I must do. I'm the only remaining descendant of Purusha, the last remnant of the second planet civilization. As long as I will still exist, my homeland and my civilization will not vanish entirely. If I keep absorbing energy and expanding, there will come a time when my 12 billion compatriot can leave once more. Our long-lost civilization will rise from the ashes, and bit by bit will build a new Purusha on a distant planet. This is a duty that falls upon me as the sole surviving human of Purusha. The only surviving human. You know what, Sa? The truth is, I've never cared one iota about a new home or new humans. The only reason I'm wholeheartedly committed to overseeing this planet and taking care of the city is because it was the first time you answered my question. As your representative, it's my duty to unquestioningly follow your will. But tell me, Sa, all this time, from the moment I came into existence up until now, you've never once treated me as a human, right? I remember now why I despise her so intensely. It was my solitary silhouette, wandering despairingly for countless days. It was my voice, crying in solitude through the endless years. It was my past, now entirely unattainable after having chosen this path. Seeing it was enough to make me nauseous. Hearing it was akin to torture. That is why I dislike her so. Why did you ask? Isn't it obvious? Do you really think you and I share anything in common? Is that so? Return to the Star Traveler. As you will, Sa.
这是多星者
It's
上
a
的潮汐带
report
监控
from the
装置发来的报
intertidal
告。
zone monitor on Star Traveler.
上面说
It says a
在太阳系
suspicious
边缘
object has been
刚刚发现有海
detected
的
at
物
the
体
edge
传
of
过，
the solar
疑
system,
似是一艘
possibly a
航天器。
spacecraft. Do you like my gift? Great detective. Honkai beings are evolving faster. At this rate, I worry that the residents of Phosphorus. Gricio, make it quick. Okay. And now. The girl's face was cold as steel as she aimed her weapon directly at Moriarty. It was the first time she had shown so much anger.
华姐姐说
Hua said you also came from Earth. Then you must know about Honkai.
意味着什么？你怎么能这么做？
How could you do this? Don't forget, Miss Artist, while I may have catalyzed the arrival of Honkai, it was the Ark and the outsiders that originally brought them to this planet. In other words, none other than yourselves.
不要强词夺理。
Enough of your sophistry. What are you after?
一出戏剧
Drama, my friend. Brilliant, engaging drama.
而在这场盛大的
However,
剧目中
as grand
我也从
as
来
a
不是主
show
角。
this has been, I've never been the main player. With a lowly smile, Moriarty glanced towards Fuhua's side.
世界始终如一，
The world remains
人们
ever
却在虚假
unchanged,
中
while people endlessly repeat
如果
the
不是我
cycle of
们永远地身
deception.
处于一场
If
巨
we
大的
weren't
骗
already
局中，
embroiled in a
我
massive
所精心
scam,
策划的
how
剧
could I carefully plan the show gone off so smoothly?
你是指这颗行星吗？
Are you talking about this
的
planet?
确，
Indeed, it is merely a testing ground for the god, a virtual paradise created using data derived from the Ark. No wonder.
所以这里才会使用中
So
文的
that's
技
why our
术，
technology
我
and
们的文字
language are being used
是我
here.
们的身上
It
也
also
带着熟悉的颜
explains
色
the familiar colors displayed by the inhabitants. Phosphorus and Hesperus were little more than simulated gardens created by Sa, whose blueprints were informed by data garnered from the Ark.
很好。
At least
看来
you're
你
quite
至少还算
honest.
坦诚。虽然乐园本身只是
Although
一
the
件实
paradise
验品，
itself is
但
merely
城
an
市中的生
experiment,
命却
the
真实。
lives of the city residents are
联系到乐
genuine.
园宿卫和差
Speaking
别
of
攻击
the
一切
cleaning
的亲
function of paradise wardens, which tends to be rather
恐怕
indiscriminate.
洪水的降临并
I'm
不是
afraid
天
this
灾，
flood
而是
isn't
由
a
人类
natural
所致。
calamity, but rather a
目的就是
man-made
洗清福
disaster
洛斯的所有
designed to
生
wipe
命，
out all lives in
从而开启
Phosphorus
下
and
一次。
initiate the next cycle.
至于轮回开启的条件，
As for the
也并不
necessary
难猜。
prerequisite for starting the cycle, that shouldn't be too difficult to guess. Activate the
启动圣
artifact,
物，
correct?
对吗？
Though there had been earlier inklings of this, Fu Hua couldn't conceal the depth of her sorrow when Moriarty finally put it into words. According to the regulation which city representatives are beholden to, when the city is on the brink of imminent destruction, by unanimous consent of the 7-Vitas, we can activate the artifact in the square. It has the power to restore peace and order to the city, quell disasters, maintain peace, and sustain this paradise. The little Vitas had put all their faith in the artifact as the ultimate contingency to get them out of any sticky situation. However, their naivety meant that they had never once questioned the existence of Hasbros or why none of them had any memories of activating the artifact. The fabled and apparently almighty treasure, in fact, had never been capable of quelling any disaster. Rather, it was the disaster itself. Why is that? If accomplish would seem impossible for thousands of years, after all the arduous nurturing to bring up the seed of civilization, why destroy it so flippantly? Because the seed is no more than just a seed. To Gracio's surprise, Peter responded to her murmur and gave her a look of indifference. During your time on Earth, when you were involved in farming, did you come to know the term pruning? To ensure the trees successfully bear fruit, branches that are infested or stunted must be excised. For a certain creator, she views her actions to be no different from pruning trees. You see, detective, with or without me, this story will continue along its predestined course. The enthusiastic detective was cast onto a dwarf planet at the edge of the solar system, and this sudden change seemed to have fated the planet to a rush of new calamities. The detective investigated into the city's past and unexpectedly crossed paths with old allies. In times of strife, disputes are invariably greater in number. The city's representatives were now at odds and questioned each other's positions, even doubting the veracity of the city's history. But no matter what they did, they could not prevent disaster from occurring. In the end, representatives activated the artifact in their desperation. The legendary artifact did not bring them the salvation they longed for. Instead, it plunged the city even deeper into the abyss. The raging flood engulfed the land and brought along a group of monsters known as the Paradise Wardens. The calamity was vanquished at last, but it also took away everything in the city, including its memories. Phosphorus met its demise and became Hesperus, and it had in the countless cycles before. Likewise, everything will proceed along its predetermined path. All I've done is to expedite this process. As Moriarty pontificated, he gazed at Vita with a provocative smile. And there's one thing I must thank you for, the overseer of the Paradise Wardens, or should I say, the true representative. Had it not been for your insisting on bringing me here, how else would I have been granted access to such a special stage? If it weren't for your negligence, which made it so easy for me to obtain control authority, I could have never orchestrated such an impressive show. Ignoring her scornful sneer, Moriarty raised his head and looked upward. High in the overcast sky, a massive shadow lurked between the clouds, sometimes distinct, other times more elusive. It would appear the dutiful representatives have already activated the artifact. Excellent. There's no turning back now. Let's wait for the show to begin. By the way, the mastermind behind all of this, an individual by the name of Sa, well... Leave me alone! Purple! Purple, are you alright? Are you hurt? Miss Vita, please say phosphorus. What's going on in your city? Tell me everything. Don't worry, we and Vita will help you. Trust us, okay? As Harmonious Vita's gaze shifted between those around her, Vita and Moriarty, who appeared to be more reliable of the bunch, remained indifferent to her words. With no time to hesitate, she nodded quickly. There was a torrential downpour just a moment ago. It won't be long before it starts overflowing into the city. Blue and the others were worried about the flood, so they began evacuating the residents to higher ground. All of a sudden, a large number of Honkai bees somehow appeared in the city. They're all unarmed civilians. Our defenses won't last much longer. Please, you must save them. Don't worry, we're heading there right now. The Honkai bees are not a threat, but as the artifact has been activated, controlling the flood can be difficult. Is there any place in the city where we can take shelter from the flood? Artifact? So we have no choice but to rely on the artifact, right? Everyone was taken aback by those words. Even Vita looked astonished. Didn't you use the artifact, Purple? Right, according to the rules, we should have activated the artifact right away, but... As she went on, she involuntarily clenched tightly to her clothing, her capacity for rational thought overtaken instead by an indescribable fear. Just a short while ago, she had a similar feeling when the flummoxed representatives mentioned the artifacts. A feeling as if she was about to uncover a fragment of a terrifying memory. For some reason, I felt that if the artifact was activated, something dreadful would happen. Therefore, based on their mutual trust and a shared sense of apprehension, the Vitas chose not to activate the artifact immediately. Instead, they sent Harmonious Vita to hospitals for help. Despite occasional disputes and lingering doubts, those they once trusted and relied on the most were here. Did we make a mistake? Should we have activated the artifact? No, you performed admirably. The so-called artifact is not as simple as you think. A voice interrupted her, and Moriarty reached his hand out towards Harmonia's Vita.